First use case is contract management. Nick Wheeler, sales representative, works with contract workspaces and creates a new contract. He uses Microsoft Office Online to edit the document, and we see how SAP data is automatically entered. Then we go through the approval process with Diek Foxhoven, legal, and Liz White, executive manager. So let's start with Nick Wheeler, sales. This is his landing page. He picks one of his customers, Global Trade. Here we see an overview page. There's a document tab with a customer documents, and we pick the right contract to work on. So now we look at the contract workspaces for Global Trade. We go to the documents, we go into the area where the contract should be put, and we add a document based on a template. So this is not a new Word document, it is based on a template. We see it is in draft state at the beginning. So now we edit the document. We use Microsoft Office Online for that, and we see that the data is automatically filled into the contract based on the workspace data, which initially comes from SAP. Now let's start the workflow. So here we see we can pick different forms. We pick the two-step contract approval workflow and pick the users that should approve the contract. So Diek Foxhoven and Liz White. Nick enters a message for the approver and then submits the workflow. So we see the workflow has now been initiated. Now we switch roles. We are now Diek Foxhoven, legal, and on his landing page, which is a contract landing page, he sees there is a workflow pending. And there are some instructions here, and he can see also the activities and the message from Nick. So he has a look at the document. He uses the built-in Browser viewer for this. Once he's done, he can approve the workflow. Now we switch roles again. We are now Liz White. She's executive manager and she's the second step approver. She looks at the activities and sees that Diek Foxhoven has already approved, so she approves as well. So now we are again Nick Wheeler. We look at the document and we see that the content of the document has adjusted. So there's additional fields there with the approver and the approval date. The second use case is case management. Gina Becker, mailroom clerk, scans and validates incoming forms. In this example, we use a commercial building permit. The second persona is Sophia Wang. She's a government caseworker. She received the incoming document in her inbox. Let's start with Gina Becker. She's the mailroom processor and she scans incoming permits. You see they're first unclassified, but then they're automatically classified as commercial building permits. That was the first step. She can now look at the organized documents and you see they're grouped as commercial building permits applications. If there would be other document types in there, we would have additional classifications. So now we can review the document. This is a manual step, which is many times not necessary, but for sake of the demo, we show how the text on the document is automatically mapped into the form fields, and we see how these fields are matching the areas on the document. There are no issues found, so we go to the next step, which is actually the submittal of these documents to the case management. Now we switch roles. We are now Sophia Wang. She works in OpenText Extended ECM for government. There's a government desktop, which is kind of a power inbox screen where she sees her workplace, the inbox, and the preview of the documents. Here we see the document that was just captured by Gina Becker. We want to assign it to an e-case, so we pick the records management classification here that applies. So we go through the classification tree, the file plan, and we find the e-file that we want to assign it to. We can also put it in a subfolder if we want. This process can also be fully automated, but here for the demo we show it manually. So now the document has vanished from the inbox. So let's see where the document went. We pick the e-case from the government landing screen and we look into the application incidents folder, and there we see our document. We see the preview of the document, and we can also have a look at the metadata. Here you see nicely how the extracted data is actually matching to the document. We see the records information here, which has been automatically assigned, and here we see the data that was actually extracted with machine learning from the document.